Hi, this session is on exam revision, and we'll start off by doing a few questions from our linear equations revision sheet. Now, the questions that I'm doing will be on your exam, so they'll just have different numbers or values. So this one here, this equation looks easy, but a lot of students make a mistake. So your first step should be to get rid of the 2. It's the furthest away, and that 2, be very careful, is a positive 2. That negative belongs to the 3D, or the 3. So to get rid of the 2, be minus 2 and minus 2. So we're left with minus 3D over 4, okay, equals 8 minus 2 is 6. So that's our first step. Now, I forgot to mention the negative was really sitting in the middle, but you can choose for it to belong to the 3 or to the 4. I've made it belong to the 3. It's your choice. My next step now is to get rid of the 4. It's on the bottom. It's the furthest away. Because we're dividing by 4, we times by 4, cancels out, and times by 4. So we're left with minus 3D equals 6 times 4 is 24. And our final step, that 3, which is negative, we don't plus 3. It's stuck to the D by times. So we have to divide by a minus 3. Cancels out, divide by a minus 3, don't forget the minus, and 24, a positive 24 divided by a negative 3, D will equal a negative 8. So you should have had negative 8 for that one. The next question I'm doing is question 4, which involves inequalities, and you have to put them on a number line. So 4a has x is greater than or equal to negative 1. And on the bottom, they've given you a number line, and you just put your own values in. Make sure that you have the negative 1 somewhere. So I'm going to just have this, for example, minus 2, minus 1, 0, and 1 and 2. That's plenty, as long as my number's there. And to do this, all you have to do is go to the number that's shown and put a circle above it. That's your first step. Then you decide whether you colour it in or not. You colour it in if it's equal to the number. So can my number x be negative 1? Yes, it can. I've got the equal to symbol, so that means I colour it in, saying it can be negative 1, and let's just read it. So my number is greater than or equal to negative 1. So I will go in the positive direction, because greater than means it can be minus 1 or 0, 1, 2, 3, all the way to infinity. That's why we have an arrow there. And that's it. So for B, we have x is less than 4. So once again, the number line was given to you, so you just fill in your numbers. You can put really whatever numbers you want, as long as you show the 4. So I'll just have 2, 3, 4, and 5. Done. Now my next step is put a circle above the 4. Do I colour this in? No, I don't. My number can't be 4. So my number is less than 4, not less than or equal to 4. And because it's less than, it has to be anything less than 4. So I go in that direction. And that's it. And the last one is where we have 2 numbers shown. So for C, we've got 6 is less than x, which is less than or equal to 9. So this is where we have our number is in between 2 numbers. Now, can it be 6? No, it can't. There's no equal to there. But my number can be 9 and anything else in between. So once again, with your number line, we've got, make sure you include 6 and 9. So I'll just write 6, 7, 8, and 9. So 6 and 9 are visible. Put a circle above both. And this one, all you're going to do now is join the circles up, okay? Because your number can be anything in between. Now, do we colour 6 in? The circle above 6? No, it can't be 6, but it can be 9. So colour the 9 in. And that's it. This is saying my number can't be 6, but it can be 7, 8, or 9. The next question that I'm doing, you have an exam question similar to this one. So it's important that you remember how to understand average and what we mean by average. So let's read the question. Ben batted his first innings with a score of 32. So it's like having, just say his first spelling test was 32. And in his second innings or second spelling test, his score was 63. So far we have 32 and or plus 63. They're his 2 first scores. Now, the question asks us, what must he score in the next match, or what must he score in his next spelling test? And they're calling it X. So we don't know what he's going to get just yet for his next test. So the next score is just plus X. So we've got 3 scores. First one was 32. Second one was 63. The third one is what we're trying to find, okay? Because we have 3 scores, or 3 sets of data, to calculate the average, you add them up and divide it by 3. So that's your next step. And then we just finished the question. What must he score in his next match to attain an average of 55? So if he wants to get all this to equal 55, we have to now work out what is X. And that's all the question's asking you. For him to get an average of 55, what must he get in his next score? So what must X be? And you guys know how to solve this equation. So have a go and solve it. So my first step would be to simplify 32 and 63, because 32 plus 63 is just 95. Then I got plus X over 3 equals 55. And this is nice and easy. Next thing to go is the 3. So times by 3, times by 3. So we have 95 plus X equals 55 times 3 is 165. And now it's a positive 95. So our last step is to minus 95, minus 95. And X will be equal to 70. And that's it. So what this is saying is, for him to get an average of 55, his next match, he must get a score of 70. And that's it. So these ones are tricky, but remember, to calculate the average, you add up all the scores and divide it by the amount of scores you have. Now these two questions will definitely be in the exam. And number 9, all we're doing is substituting in values for F or for C. So let's read the question. Temperatures in degrees Fahrenheit and Celsius are related by the equation, and this is the equation they've given us. So you can actually use this to work out, convert between degrees or Fahrenheit. Now, for example, if you watch American news, Americans use Fahrenheit. So they might say outside is 70 degrees. Now, obviously, it's not the same degrees as we would have here. So we can work out, all right, if it's 70 degrees in America, what is our temperature in Celsius here? Now, for 9a says, what is the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit if it is 10 degrees Celsius? So that C stands for Celsius. So if it's 10 degrees in Australia, what would it be? What would Americans call it in Fahrenheit? So your first step is, I'll write the equation over here. So change color, is equal to 1.8 times C plus 32. Now, please don't let the decimal confuse you. It's just a number with a decimal, okay? All right, there's the equation. And for A, it says, what is the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit if it is 10 degrees Celsius? So if Celsius in degrees is equal to 10, all you got to do is sub it into the equation. So instead of C here, I'll have 1.8 times C. And it will tell us what the temperature is in Fahrenheit. Let's have a look. So F is equal to 1.8 times 10 plus 32. We know with BODMAS that we do 1.8 times 10 first. So that will give me 18 plus 32. And 18 plus 32 is 50. Now, this is telling us that if we say in Australia, it's 10 degrees Celsius. America would say it's 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, and that's it. So the next question says, for B, what is the temperature in degrees Celsius if it is 50 degrees Fahrenheit? So now we're doing the opposite. If F is 50, what do we get for C? Now we should know what the answer is because we use the same number, but we have to show working out. So for B, once again, there's my equation. F equals 1.8 C plus 32. This time, if F is 50 degrees, what is C? Now this one's a bit harder because F is on the outside. So I'll substitute F for 50. So I'll have 50 equals 1.8c plus 32. Now, what I'm going to do is rewrite it so c is on this side. So 1.8c equals, 1.8c plus 32 equals 50. Okay, and now you can solve this. We want c to be by itself, so I have to minus 32 first, and minus 32. So 1.8c will equal 18. And the last step is divide by 1.8. Remember, a decimal is just a number. Divide by 1.8, and 18 divided by 1.8 should give you 10. And that's it. Okay, so if Americans say it's 50 degrees Fahrenheit, our temperature would be 10 degrees. The next question we're doing is question 10, and it says Sarah gets paid $25 per hour. And A says write an equation that shows Sarah's pay per hour. So remember, when doing questions like this, we have to use variables. So I'm going to say P is for pay. So we have to explain or state our variables. What do they stand for? And for hours, I might use H. H represents hours. And pay is in dollars. Okay, so now if she gets paid $25 per hour, I'll say her pay is equal to 25 per or times hour. And that's it. So it will look like this, 25, P equals 25H. That's how easy it is to write an equation. And let's see if it works. If she worked 2 hours, well, if H is 2, 25 times 2 is 50. Her pay will be $50. But you have to be able to write an equation and understand how to do that. You can use whatever variables you like, unless they tell you in the question, but just explain to the person what the variables stand for. So that should be your first step. Now we're going to use this equation to answer questions B and C. B says, how much will Sarah earn if she worked 4.5 hours? So if she worked 4.5 hours, so that was A. So hours is equal to 4.5 or H. Substitute it into the equation for H. So P will equal 25 times 4.5. And if you're in a hurry, your calculator can do the rest. So 25 times 4.5 is 112.5. So I'll just put it up here. Okay, now we have to make sense of this. That's saying what? $112.50. So I'll put a 0 here to make it look like cents. And if you have time, what you should really do is write your final statement. I'll do it up here. Therefore, she will get paid $112.50 if she worked 4.5 hours. So that's where you explain what you have found, and that's where you put your dollar sign. Don't put the dollar sign here, write your final statement. Now for C, it says if she earned $464, approximately how many hours did she work? So now we're doing the opposite. So now if we want to work out, just say you had a job and you wanted to work out how many hours do I have to work to get this much money? This is what you would do. So this time, instead of C, we've got P, her pay, is equal to 464. Now put it in our equation, which was, I'll write it again, P equals $25 per hour. So now we're replacing P with 464. So 464 equals 25H. You can rewrite it so you have H on this side. So 25H equals 464. Divide by 25, cancels out, divide by 25. So H is equal to 464 divided by 25 is, I've got 18.56. Okay, now the question said approximately how many hours. So to round this off, the amount of hours will be approximately, so use my squiggly equal sign, round it off to 19 hours. And of course, you can write your final statement. Therefore, she will have worked 19 hours to earn $464. And that's it. Now, 11, same sort of thing, but there's one extra thing you have to think about. Let's read it. An electrician charges an initial $40 call out fee for travel costs, and then $80 per hour. So sometimes when you get someone to come to your house to fix an oven or whatever, they will charge you just say for petrol money. So you have to pay them before they do any work in your house. Initially pay them. In this case, he charges $40 just for him to come out and not even start working. All right. So the question, asks us to write an equation for this problem. So we can use C, what the cost is going to cost us, or what the C for charge. Okay, so that can stand for costs because we're the ones paying for this. And per hour. So once again, when you see per hour, H can always be hours. Okay, now, and that's cost in dollars. So the total cost is equal to, now the $40 call out fee, we pay it once. So we're going to pay the $40 first plus $80 per hour. So we'd have $80 times every hour. And that would be your equation. Okay? $40 you have to pay it no matter what, plus $80 per hour. So if he came to your house and worked 1 hour, well, it would be 80 times 1, which is just $80, plus the 40, which will give you what, $120. Now, we're going to use this equation to work out B. And B says, on a particular job, the electrician charged $360. How many hours did the electrician work for? Okay, let's work this out. So if he charged 360, so C is equal to 360, we're going to work out how many hours did he work. So now replace C with 360. So 360 equals 40 plus 80H. And you can solve this, rearrange it if you want to. So I'm going to have 80 on this side, H, plus 40 equals 360. I haven't changed anything, I just rewrote it. And now let's go. So 80H, we have to minus 40. So 80H is equal to 320. Divide by 80. Cross the zeros off. So H will be equal to, 32 divided by 8 is 4. So that's telling us, H we know stands for hours. He would have worked for 4 hours for him to charge $360. And this one was a multiple choice question, and it looks like the answer was, C. All right, so I'll stop this session now. So they're the main questions I wanted to go through on the equations revision sheet. The next session will be on some random questions covering all topics that will be on your exam.